is behind the bumper in this point right here. So if you know anything about superchargers, the whole time that supercharger is spinning, it's creating air. It doesn't go by load like a turbo. 5,000 RPMs, it's the same amount of air whether you're light throttle or full throttle. When you're not using the air is bypassing. So you're hearing a whooshing sound the whole time you're cruising. As soon as you crack the gas, the valve closes and the boost goes in the engine, you don't have that whooshing sound. We kind of advised against it. I think we told him it was going to be a little bit too loud, and now he's decided it is too loud, it's too annoying. We have a recirc style. We're going to fill this hole here and put the valve probably down here and run it into the bottom down in that hole, which is good. You're not going to see it because the only color I could get was blue. You're not going to see it. It is actually a cool blue. Yeah. But it's going to be buried.
You put that anywhere in this engine bay, it ain't right.
Yeah. He's going to go, okay, can you paint it either black or yellow for me or polish it? We're seeing this on all of the Q50s. Watch this. They stick. You hear how gritty it is? It's stuck. It just sticks, which sucks because this was probably the best valve you could get. It's still a premier valve, but I think they're putting them together dry. So whenever you do one of these, most of the time this is stuck closed. We take them apart and grease the parts that move. We'll show you that in a minute. This has a 3-pound spring in it, so it needs to be a lighter spring for superchargers. I used to make fun of Harbor Freight, and then there's a few times that we've needed tools, and it seems like they have it. Like this, I think it's the Pittsburgh line. This is like the cheapest stuff that they have.
That's my favorite ratchet.
And I like it, we both like it so much. And the nice thing about this is you walk in with this thing and you go, it broke, and the guy goes, go get another one, and he throws this one in the bin. You're not mailing it off or dealing with the guy coming around in a van, and then the guy comes around in a van and he really doesn't want to trade out tools, he wants you to buy tools.
I don't know if it'll pick it up, but if you look at the font on Icon, it's practically the same font as Snap-on.
So we made an executive decision to take this thing apart and paint it black.
Yeah, it's in the engine bay. It'll be down there, but it's still in the engine bay.
Yeah, you're gonna stick over and go, well, what's that blue thing do?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna go, okay, well, yeah, it's that. So we're gonna paint it black. We're gonna take it apart, mask it up, do a nice job, use some epoxy.
Yeah, well, we've got to grease it anyways, so we're gonna pull it apart regardless.
Yeah. It's a lot easier than a 10-pound spring, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So the moving part, this over here is kind of like a guide, and it runs on this guy right here, which is like an anodized coating. So the O-ring in here is what seals right here, seals against the base of that housing down there, but it sure can stick.
Yeah, but once you start putting a little pressure on it, they get a little weird.
That's what makes all the noise. I'm going to take that off. We're going to cap that pipe. It's kind of a shame, it's all polished, you can't see it.
Yeah, it's nice.
We'll cap that, hook that to the new valve. I didn't really smash the phone. Here it is right here. And there's Esther's phone. Hell, it's a lot more stealthy, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's greased. Ooh.
Now only if TIAL would do that before they ship them.
Yeah, it doesn't hang out anymore.
That would be really cool, wouldn't it? So that goes in. Then we're going to run a hose up into the intake, put the other charge pipe on that has no blow-off valve now, right here. So that is the replacement part. We built this in one piece, obviously. It goes this way to the throttle body. Now it just has the flexi hose to go from the bypass valve to the intake, just to allow for vibration. But that is a finished piece now. It's just one more thing to do is the diff mounts, but that looks just as good as it did before, but now a whole lot quieter. This is actually a friend of ours building this air-to-water intercooler, and this is a little tight for them to get in there. So we're going to go ahead and put our small torch on and get through there, and then we'll pressure test it just to make sure there's no leaks. But it's a pretty big air-to-water. So these diff mounts have been on back order for a while. They finally came in, so we replaced the front and the back set. Now it is good to go. So you've seen this car on the channel before. This is TopGuns S2000. It's been dynoed before, it's been dyno tuned. It's got, I think he's had several exhausts. It's got the Comtech intake. And we're gonna see what it does. I'm gonna get him over here in a second. He's gonna tell us what it made the last time. It dynoed pretty high. So we wanna see it on our dyno and see actually what it does.
So on the dyno with TopGun's car,
I started the run full throttle, but as the run kept going, I started slowly pulling my foot off the gas. It was about half throttle by the time it was at 8,000.
We had to tease him because he's been telling us so long how much power this car's been making, and it was just kind of funny.
It's like, oh, this is the highest horsepower bolt on S2000. He's like, no, it's gonna make 170.
When it's exhausted, 238.
Okay, that's super strong. Well, that's not very much, is it? Well, that doesn't look...
No, you guys did something.
That's not very high at all.
Yeah, you guys did something calibration.
Did you press it all the way down?
Like this much.
I'm sorry, we had to do it. He didn't press the gas down all the way. Okay. 178. I'd say that's pretty hot.
It's a hot day.
It really is.
164 torque.
Yeah, that's some pretty good torque too. I wanted to show some comparisons of the same year S2000 so you can kind of get an idea. This was the Silver Dancer that we did a dyno before it left, and that was actually a pretty healthy car. So 225, 157 on that one. This was all stock except Flash Pro Tune, 218, 152. This was the 2004 white one that I had. I actually sold to my friend Jeff. Bone stock, 222, 150, 223, 154. That gives you some ideas of bone stock bolts on S2000. All right, we're gonna do a backup run with the lid, just see if there's any changes, but this is obviously a really high horsepower S2000, especially with just tune, intake, test pipe, and exhaust. Still got the stock header. Horsepower in it. That is pretty impressive. This is what we call the ricer run, where we go through the gears like 1 through 4. Always good to hear your car go through the gears, right?
Yes.
All right, this was the ricer run right here. First, second, third, fourth. Very cool. This is a car we built a long time ago, and it was involved in a wreck. We rebuilt that. He's already replaced this piece. It had the oil cooler here that got smashed, so that is in the process of getting replaced. So the oil cooler is now up here, which is in a good spot for airflow. There's a lot of incoming air here. The intercooler is okay, it's not leaking. The fins got a little mushed. All the lines we're replacing. We did have push lock on it back in there. We're changing it all to AN. The remote oil filter he wants here. In this wreck, this got broken too, and the threads are partially pulled out. So we have a new one of these. These are the push lock lines, which work fantastic, but they're a bit of a pain to work with when you're trying to get everything lined up. So we're going to change all this to AN. Basically change everything with these and then put our AN pieces. We can build lines that way. There we go, that's where that's going. Nice and convenient. The lines will be nice and smooth going this way. The oil filter will be in an easy spot to drain. It bolts right here. I just don't want to scuff them up, they're too nice. So don't you just love daylight savings time? You like it, George? You think we should change the clock forward and backwards like every month? Just to kind of mess us up a little bit. So we've got our lines connected up. We just got to shorten that one wire for the oil sensor right there. There's actually two, the factory one and then the aftermarket one, but now we have the nice AN fittings. And looking around, one thing we noticed right here, this hose is ballooning. It's the wrong hose, it's too thin, and as you see, it's bursting. It's probably vacuum hose. So one thing to note when you're doing water hose, but you want to get the stuff with the braiding on there. Any predictions?
I mean, Christian said 78. I think that's probably pretty good.
Yeah, I think they make 98 at the crank, so between 70 and 80 to the wheels would be about right.